Today is Thursday, June 19th, 2014, and this...
So what? You're just going to lie there in your own filth?
Oh, you can bet on that, baby! Is You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. Show number 50. You can bet on that! Just thinking of all the amazing times that we've had here. You can bet on that. I hope that you're having an enjoyable stay here in Las Vegas, and also hope that you've been fortunate. You can bet on that. They're going to give Daddy the Rain Man suite. You dig that? We're going to Vegas, Mike. Vegas! You think we'll get there by midnight? Honey, we're going to be up $500 by midnight. Yeah! You can bet on that! You can bet on that! Las Vegas is waiting. You can bet on that. Hello, everybody. This is Mark.
And this is Dr. Mike.
Welcome to You Can Bet on That. So a little tribute to 500 by midnight there. I can't tell you how long it took me to make that. It came out as lame as it did, but
so you're not used to it.
Yeah, I couldn't get the reverb quite right. Yeah. And anyway, so that's the reason we wanted to do that is this is kind of a milestone episode for us, number 50, and 500. They were a big influence on us to get our podcast started, and we're going to be talking about Las Vegas on this episode,
right? Because we just went to Las Vegas.
We just went there. We had a trip, so that's
and we laid in our own filth for most of the trip.
We did lie in our own filth. Yeah, that's a big part of any Vegas trip for us.
Yeah, right.
Lying in our own filth. So we're going to talk about our Vegas trip. A couple of news items, though, first. Let's get to that. You may recall a while back there was a story about some players who were playing mini baccarat, and a new shoe was introduced to the game.
Okay.
I don't know how many decks, 6, 8 decks, maybe probably 8 decks, something like that. And as the players were playing, they realized that the cards were coming out in order. In other words, the shoe had not been shuffled.
And they were like ace, king, queen, jack, 10, 9,
yeah, or
8,
however,
7, 6, 2, ace, king, queen, jack.
Right. Okay. And so they caught on to this and they started upping their bets and they won quite a bit of money. According to the story, it was $1.5 million.
And I wonder if the dealer noticed.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Did they go through the whole shoe? Yeah, wouldn't you think
wouldn't after a while the dealer was like, wait a minute, these cards are coming up in exactly the order that, as if you opened a new deck.
Yeah.
And these guys just raised their bets up. Wouldn't he call the pit over and say, something's weird's here?
You'd think so. This happened to the Golden Nugget in Atlantic City. You're right, though. Why would you go through a whole shoe? You'd think the dealer... And how would the players kind of start noticing? Would they be talking to each other or whispering? Or, would they all figure it out on their own?
And would it be like, it's the ace of spades, the king of spades, the queen of spades coming up, right?
Yeah, right.
So wouldn't the dealer after a while say, wait a minute, all the spades came out, now all the clubs are coming out, and then come on, somebody has to notice that.
Well, anyway, after this came down, after this happened, the casino sued the players to get money back.
Right.
Saying that, they weren't responsible for...
So another case of the casino screwing up, but wanting their money back.
Right. Now, well...
This reeks of Phil Ivey.
Now, keep in mind that the casino actually gets these shoes from a third party.
Okay.
Okay, so they don't put the shoes together themselves. So it was this third-party company called Gemico, and they provide the shoes. So they were the ones who failed to shuffle.
So when they go through a whole shoe, doesn't the casino shuffle?
I think they get rid of it because, in Baccarat, you can touch the cards and so
they just get rid of it?
I think they may get rid of it. Shoe,
and they put a whole new shoe?
And they put a whole new one in
They have all these shoes just sitting there?
I guess so, yeah. That's a good question. I don't know for sure, but this was, brand new and came from this company. So the casino was saying, hey, this wasn't our fault.
Right.
So they sued to get the money back from the players.
And they should have sued the company that provided them the bad
shoe. I'm sure they did. I think there was a settlement that went that way. Yeah. But ultimately, that's kind of my feeling is that, and again, I'm no lawyer.
Right.
I think maybe I've mentioned that on the show before.
You've mentioned that a couple times, yeah.
But it would seem to me that Gemico would be responsible and they'd have to,
Well, they'd be responsible to pay the casino, and the casino would be responsible to play the players because the players didn't cheat in any way.
Right.
They just opened their eyes.
Exactly. They took advantage of something they saw happening.
Right.
So anyway, originally this went to court. Oh, and the players also countersued the casino because they said that they were detained illegally.
After it had come out.
I guess
Well, I'm not sure. It might have been the same day of, or I don't know.
Yeah, well,
But
I'm
they
sure
were-
it's like once they found there was a problem, they detained them
Yeah,
all.
right.
Because they probably thought there was some cheating going on, right?
Very possible. Now, I don't know what this detainment entailed.
Yeah.
But anyway, they countersued.
The Stalag at the Golden Nugget.
Right. Yeah, that's where they were. So the case went to court, and the court ruled against the casino. Okay. So
The lower court.
the lower
the
court,
first
right?
court,
Yes.
yeah.
They ruled against the casino, and at first the casino said that they were going to appeal, but then the owner of the casino overrode his lawyers and said that they would pay the remainder of the disputed winnings. I guess there was, I'm not sure. At first I thought that the players already had their winnings, or maybe the casino was withholding.
Maybe they took some back.
It could be. But anyway, the casino said, okay, we're going to pay.
Hoping not to be sued by the players.
Right. But some of the players wouldn't go for the deal because of this detainment issue. Right.
They were greedy.
You could say maybe they were greedy.
Yeah.
Because again, the case went to court, and a higher court has now ruled that the casino is not liable
Right.
to pay, that in fact, the unshuffled cards resulted in an illegal game under state rules.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what that is, but
well, you're not an attorney. How would you know?
I wouldn't know. You're exactly right. So, but anyway, so now they have ruled in favor of the casino. So at this point, this is where we've ended up: is the players now do not have their money,
Right.
and if they hope to get money, they're going to have to.
The
appeal
casino
themselves.
probably made out big time because they didn't have to pay the players. They probably sued Gemco and probably got a boatload of money to offset all their legal fees and
Yeah.
everything like that. And they probably made a profit on the deal.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this article here. It said the company Gemico admitted in court it had erred, and a Golden Nugget lawyer said a confidentiality agreement it had reached with Gemico prevented him from commenting on the lawsuit's disposition. So who knows? They
Right.
settled somehow.
Which means they got a bunch of money.
They probably, yeah, you're right. They got a bunch of money from Gemico, and now they don't have to pay.
and they don't have to pay the players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Because that's what happens when they don't disclose things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, again, this is a case where I'm really on the players' sides, especially if they were detained
Right.
in any kind of, violent manner. And,
Right.
and
If
nothing.
they physically said, hey, you can't leave this room or something.
Yeah, and-
well, that's kidnapping.
Yeah. So I don't know.
They didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. There's nothing in the article about, the details there, but
It sounds like the judge maybe is a little favoritism for the casino, should we say?
Perhaps it's New Jersey. I don't know. I'm gonna no comment.
Well, how many players were there? I mean, let's say there were 20. Let's just go crazy and say there were 20, which I know there weren't that many probably.
Right.
But even if-
14.
14. So that's 14 votes for the judge versus, maybe the money that the casino chipped in for his campaign fund.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going with
All right.
that.
Very good.
And I'm not an attorney.
Yeah.
But-
I think you've mentioned that on the show before.
But
yeah.
I will say that's a likely scenario.
All right, another story that's coming out of New Jersey. This was at the Borgata. It's a case where they caught a man past posting, and again, that's putting money out on a bet that has already won. The decision's already been
Adding
made,
money to
but
your
adding
bet.
money to it before it gets paid.
Right.
And this guy was just sentenced to 17 years in prison. That might seem like a lot of time for doing this, but it was his third conviction.
Right.
And obviously they take this kind of cheating seriously.
Well, they might have a 3-strike rule too.
Very possibly. And what he was caught doing was betting $505 at craps, on a wager that had already won. And that should ring a bell for some of our listeners. $505.
Right.
It's a well-known means of pass posting where what you
Put
do.
the $5 on top.
Yeah, what you do is you put out a stack of 6 $5 chips, right? And you offset that top $5 chip so that the dealers can't really see the color of the chips underneath.
Right.
So you've got
They're
total,
hidden in the shadow of the
Right.
top chip.
So you've got a total of $30 out there, right? And then when the bet wins, well, if the bet loses, they just collect it. If the bet wins, the cheater very quickly replaces the stack with another stack of 6 chips, again, with the $5 chip on the top offset, but now the 5 chips below it are all $100 chips.
Right. And do they do that after so let's say that the dealer just pays, and you know how they'll match the chip stack.
Right.
So the guy would grab a stack of 5s, he would match that. He would put 6 $5 chips, and then the player goes out and like he's going to pull his money back, and then says, "Hey, wait a minute," and pulls back and puts the new stack there. Is that when he does it?
That's a good question. I think he actually does it before he gets paid.
Before he gets
so he
paid?
does it
Wouldn't you
very
see
quickly.
his hand, though?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's a good question. Maybe they do it that way.
Yeah,
but
because that way it's be like, oh, you paid me wrong, right? And the dealer's already paying somebody else, so he's not watching your stack.
yeah, that could be. I know they try to use some kind of distraction.
Right.
Maybe he was working with somebody who would distract the dealer. But I don't know if it's before or after. But yeah, you make a good point. It might be after it's already been paid.
Right, because the dealer doesn't actually, although there's a lot of times they're supposed to break a stack down.
Right.
And look, they'll do that when I put 175 or 150 odds behind something.
Yeah, they'll break it down.
They'll break it down because they want to make sure that, you have 150, you don't have 3 quarters, and you have $75, you have 102 2/4.
Yeah. So anyway, 17 years, it's not worth it. Don't cheat.
God, it's not worth 17 years in a men's prison
Yep. And
because you wanted to make a few $1,000s. I don't think so.
Plus he'd been convicted twice before. So unless he's really improved his technique, he's going to get caught again.
He's not real good at it.
They might be watching him anyway. So.
He's going to be in a prison where, once a week they're going to give him a Wretch Dog from Slots of Fun.
Uh-huh. Maybe he can play dice in prison.
Yeah, right.
That might be one good.
He runs the craps game in prison. Turns out he's a millionaire at the end, right?
No,
it's all in cigarettes.
It turns out he loses because everybody's pass posting on him, right?
Right.
The guards are distracting him, and then all the prisoners are putting out more money when he doesn't see it. Yeah. All right. Hey, we want to thank everybody who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link at the top of the page. That way, when you make a purchase, we get a little kickback that helps cover the costs of hosting the show, and it doesn't cost you a thing. You'll pay the same price just like normal. So, we have returned from Las Vegas.
Yes, we were there last weekend.
This was a very quick trip.
Too quick.
Basically just one day, flew on Friday.
Late, too.
Yeah, late on Friday and stayed Saturday. And then I came back very early Sunday, and you guys came back in the morning.
Well, we came back in the morning, but we still, I basically got up, showered, and ate breakfast and left.
Yeah.
We didn't play at all.
It's funny because Thursday night, the night before we left,
right.
You texted me and said something like, why the hell are we not leaving tonight? Why aren't we going out there tonight?
Right.
And I responded like, I was ready to do it. This was your idea to just make a quick, shot.
Stupid work gets in the way.
It's the worst.
It's the worst. Next, we're never doing that again.
Yeah.
People are going to have to wait.
Okay? It is true. It was not counting some of the crazy short trips we took when we were both single.
Yeah. Those don't count because we did that knowing on purpose, right?
Well, that was during a time we were going like every 2 weeks too, right? So it wasn't like, once or twice a year, right? So, but yeah, we're at a point in our lives where let's not do this again.
No.
All right.
No.
But anyway,
our time in Vegas is too precious to be wasted on one day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We, Friday night came and I got a text message from the airline.
Thank God.
Indicating that the flight was an hour late. And it was scheduled to leave at about 11 o'clock, right? PM.
PM, right. It was 10:55 PM. It was going to leave.
And it
didn't leave until what?
It was
close to midnight?
Yeah, it was. It was something like that. It was close to midnight. Yeah. And it's funny because I called you as soon as I got the text message and, hey, Mike, and you were all excited. Oh, hi, Mark, where are you? And
I thought you were going to say you're on your way to the airport and we were just getting ready to leave.
Yeah. Nope, flight's delayed. So you were very upset.
Yeah, I had to sit there and watch more TV.
So anyway, the flight ended up being about an hour late. So we took our time getting down to the airport. We were sitting in the terminal.
Right.
You and I were sitting right next to each other, and your wife was on the other side. And she looks down at us and says, well, you guys are wearing the same shorts. We had on the exact same shorts.
And you turned to her and said, did you buy them at Target? And she's like, yeah, it's Target.
Yep. Neither one, right? Our wives had bought the shorts for us.
Right.
Right. We had never, we weren't trying to coordinate. No. So that looked really good. Sitting right next to each other.
Right. And I think the guy sitting across from us, remember, he was kind of talking to me a little, waiting for the same plane. Yeah. And he heard you hear to say that. And he kind of snickered like, oh God.
Well, the flight was late. We finally landed, and we were supposed to get a ride to Caesars. Well, you were staying at Caesars. I was staying at Paris, but they were supposed to pick us up in a limo because you're
Right.
7 stars.
Right.
And we got there and, we got to the baggage area and nobody was.
Usually there's a guy with a sign right when you come down the escalator.
Yeah.
And he's standing there and there's no guy. So I'm thinking, well, our flight was kind of screwed up. So maybe things are screwed up. So you guys walked out. You and my wife walked out to the taxi
We looked
stand,
outside to see if we could see anything there.
and I walked down to another place where I knew sometimes they stand. There was nobody. Came back. We were just about ready to get a cab. And I said, well, they pick you up down below.
Yeah, there's
a elevator you take down one level, and that's where the limos park.
Right, it's like an underground parking garage kind of thing.
Yeah, for
right.
limos.
Yeah.
So I said, let's walk down there. And so we walked down there, and there happened to be several Caesars/Harris Properties limos, and one pulled up right as we stepped out the door.
Yeah.
And the guy got out, and he was walking, and I said, "Are you here for, us?" And he showed me my name.
Yeah. And,
And yeah, that's us.
so he had just gotten there.
Yeah.
If we had gone directly down to that lower level, he wouldn't have been there yet, and we'd still be walking around trying to find him. Okay, yeah, you said our flight was late, but that happens all the time.
Right.
Late flights.
Right.
I'm surprised they weren't.
Well,
waiting for
I'll tell you the funniest thing. So we get in the limo, or we're getting in the limo, and I said to the driver, I said, "Hey, my buddy here is with us, but he's not staying at Caesars. He's staying at Paris. Can we drop him off at Paris
Yeah.
so he doesn't have to walk from Caesars to Paris with
Yeah.
his luggage and everything?"
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he said something like, "Oh, I don't know, it's kind of crowded out there.
Or something. Oh,
it's kind of busy tonight."
I got to deal with that whole busy, crowded area.
Yeah, that whole busy crowded
Okay,
area.
thanks.
And then he said, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
And so we drove there, and he was nice.
Yeah.
He was a nice enough guy.
He drove by Paris. He slowed down to maybe about 15 miles an hour and just pushed me out.
you out, yeah.
That I didn't care for, so I didn't tip. But
The funny thing is it wasn't that crowded.
No.
And he drove off, and it delayed us, oh my God, maybe 2 minutes. I mean, it was not much
was
out
right
of the
there.
way at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
So anyway, you got to Paris.
So yeah, I got to Paris, and listeners of the show may remember that I promised I was going to go straight to bed,
Right.
and that's exactly what I did.
Well, you checked in. Then
I'll tell you that this was the fastest check-in I've ever had at Vegas. It was, again, about 1:00 in the morning at this point, and the Diamond check-in was closed, but there was
Right.
no line to check in. I walked straight up. Oh, yes, we got you right here. I mean, boom, boom, boom. And then I had never stayed at Paris before, but one great thing about Paris is the elevators are pretty close to the check-in, probably closer than any other.
Well, my brother says Bally's is real close.
Bally's is close
He
too
says
also?
Bally's is real close too.
Okay.
He likes Bally's for that reason.
Okay, so the elevators are right there, up into the room. And I texted you when I got in the room, said, I'm already checked in and in the room.
Yeah, you were in the room, and we were just getting to check in.
Yeah. Now, so I went straight to bed, like I said I was going to do because I wanted to be fresh. Now, what happened to you?
Now, let me tell you my experience with check-in. So we get there. The guy, lets us out. He was nice. We gave him a nice big tip. So I figured I owed him a little for stopping at Paris. But so he was happy in the end. Yep. We walk into the casino. We go right to check-in. And now the Diamond and 7-star area is closed. So it's just the regular check-in. Yep. There's like 3 people working, which I was surprised at 1:00 in the morning.
Well, it was a Friday.
Yeah, it was a Friday. And there was a line. There was like 4 people.
Was there really?
There was like 4 people in line.
Yeah,
I thought,
okay.
we're going to have to stand in this line.
Yeah.
And a lady happened to walk by, and I was holding my 7-star card, and she said, oh, just go over here, stand there. And I noticed there was a separate line that said 7-star.
Oh, okay.
And she said, stand here, and the next available person will help you.
Okay.
But so that they were all 3 helping people. So, I thought, oh, good, we're going to get in quick. Well, we're standing there, and these 2 women come up and go right in front of us.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you this earlier.
No, you didn't. That's the first time hearing it.
Well, I was so mad about all the other stuff that happened. I didn't tell you about the 2 women. They came and they stood right in front of us like they were in line.
Like they were in line in front of you. Okay.
Yeah, they didn't have bags or anything.
All right.
They were just getting in the 7-star line, and obviously they had some questions for the check-in.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of we were already there. I mean, we were clearly standing there.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of looked at the ladies and I was like, we're in line.
Yeah.
And then, okay. And they got behind us.
All
But
right.
they seemed put off, and they kind of like, well, is he really a 7-star,
Uh-huh.
Cause I'm wearing a t-shirt and shorts, right? So then the lady finished the people she was helping, and she called us over, and we got up there, and I, identified myself, gave her my ID, and said checking in. And she said, okay, we have a room for you in the Palace Tower, which is the old tower.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, really? The Palace Tower? I thought we were staying, at the Augustus Tower, which is what our reservation said. And she said, no, we don't have you there. And then she said, what are you here for? And I said, we were there for a couple of promos. And she said, well, I don't have any of that listed. And I'm like, well, are you getting me confused with, my brother was also staying there, and we hadn't got in touch with him yet. So I thought, well, maybe, they think I'm my brother,
Yeah.
same last name.
Yeah.
And my dad was on my brother's reservation because my dad was kind of uncommitted whether he was going to go or not. So my brother had just listed him when he made the reservation.
Right. And your dad did not come.
He
with us,
ended
yeah.
up not going.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, we were never able to clarify it. And, also they had 2 queen beds in the Palace Tower. And I said, well, it's my wife and I, we just need a king bed so anyway, after about a half hour of standing there now, but in the meantime, my brothers come and we're talking and we're kind of laughing with the girl, but she was clearly flustered because she had to call somebody to get a room. And we ended up getting a room in the Augustus where we were, but she couldn't do anything about the promotion stuff because it's not her deal. And she said, you'll have to talk to a host, but they're all gone for the night. So first thing in the morning, see a host and, try and get that squared away. But she did get us a room. However, usually with 7-star people, you get, some kind of gift basket or welcome basket. There was nothing like that because they obviously didn't know we were coming or whatever.
Well, poor baby.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I feel that sorry for you about not
I
getting
was
a special
steamed about
gift.
that.
Yeah, I'll bet.
But anyway, it ended up, we did get a good room.
That's so funny because, by now I'm asleep.
Right. Oh,
and,
yeah.
when I checked in, very good. We see that you've got a promo for $25 in free play and $20 food credit. And they had everything listed for me.
No, we didn't have anything for us.
All right.
And so they didn't even have my wife listed, and she had a promo too.
Okay.
So, but they got that squared away. Anyway, we went up to the room. We threw our stuff on the bed. My wife kissed me goodbye and said, have a good time. And my brother and I headed to the craps table.
Yeah.
And we played. And we actually started off really well. Started off very good. First 3 shooters were all winners. And then it got cold and ended up going to bed just a tiny bit down.
Okay.
Just a tiny bit down. So it wasn't too bad. And what time did I tell you I went to bed? Like 4?
I got a text from you, I want to say about 4:30, something like that.
Yeah, it was between 4 and 4:30 when I was finally getting in bed. But I was up at 7:30.
Okay.
To eat breakfast with you and begin our day.
That's right. So I woke up early and took care of some business. I went and bet on California Chrome,
right?
Which
didn't pay off.
It was a Belmont Stakes, didn't pay off, but I put a bunch of money down on that. We'll talk about that too because we watched the race later. And I played some money for my mom on the Big Bertha machine. She likes
to
that.
play that.
So then, I contacted you. Said, okay, we're getting ready. We'll meet you down at basically the coffee shop at Caesars. It's called Central. So I walked over to Caesars, and it was before you guys were ready yet. I walked over to one of those shoot to win craps machines. I figure, well, I'll play a little bit here just to kill time. And it's funny because we got an email from listener Cody this week who was talking about, we've talked about those machines kind of disparagingly because we don't really care for them. But Cody made a good point. If you're a novice or if you've never played before,
right.
It's a great way to learn, right?
Sure.
It's got,
there's no pressure.
Yeah. Cheap
well,
limits.
you do have to make your bets kind of quick.
That's true. It's like 30 seconds.
Yeah. But you don't have a lot of time for
there's nobody's going to get mad at you or you can't do anything wrong in quotes.
Right.
But it is a good thing for beginners or for people who maybe don't like the pressure or the social aspect of the game craps. So anyway, I played that I one number and then you called and said, we're already in the restaurant. We're waiting for you. So I went over there. This might be a good time to talk about this. We ate at this breakfast place, Central, and I guess it's a nice enough place, but it's just, we've only eaten breakfast
I'll tell
there
you
ever.
What. Yeah, Lynn and I on a trip when it was just her and I, we had lunch there one time. It's way overpriced.
Way overpriced.
Way overpriced.
Yep.
I mean, $19 for 2 eggs, 2 strips of bacon, some hash browns and toast.
Yeah, basically a Grand Slam at Denny's.
Right.
Yeah.
It's basically a Grand Slam at Denny's, $19.
Yeah.
And I know it's a casino and everything, but it's way overpriced.
Yeah.
The service has always been okay. We've never had an issue with that.
Yeah.
It just seemed like it was a little pricey for.
Well, anyway, so we ate there And then your wife went to get a haircut.
Right.
Right. And so,
we did what we always do. We headed right to the roulette table.
I texted my wife and said, "We are currently playing roulette." That's not a typo. We went to the craps table first, and it was crowded.
It was crowded.
So you said, "Let's play some roulette." I said,
Yeah.
"Okay, let's go
I
play."
saw that roulette table sitting there. I thought, oh, let's play some roulette.
So that's what we did. So together, the first game we played was roulette.
Right.
You cashed in first, and I was going to watch a little bit.
right.
And so, what did you cash in for? Like $200,
$200.
something
That's
like
I
that?
wasn't going to lose more than 200 at
So
roulette.
it was a $10 minimum table. And for those not familiar, the way that when you see $10 minimum at a roulette table, that means if you're making any of the outside bets, those are like kind of the like red, black, even, odd, or the three
First, third,
columns,
second,
or that
third,
thing.
right.
Each one of those bets that you make has to be at least $10. If you're making any bets on the inside, on single numbers, double numbers, that kind of thing, your total amount bet on those on the inside has to be $10.
So you don't have to bet $10 on one number. You could take 10 $1 chips and spread it over 10 numbers or any other combination, as long as you have $10 on the inside.
Right. So
That's typical for almost every casino.
Yeah, that just look at the minimum and that's what it is.
Right.
So there was the dealer who was very nice said to us, "Oh, you know what's nice about playing here at Caesar's Palace is that if you've made the $10 minimum already on the outside,
Right.
you don't have to bet a total of $10 on the inside."
So you could bet $3 on the inside or something.
Yeah, you have $10 on red, and then you could just bet, $3 on three different numbers in there.
Right.
And I said, "Oh, that is good. That's
Yeah.
different from most casinos."
Because most casinos don't do that. And it is nice because then, if you want to bet, like, say, $15 a hand, you'd put 10 on red and then pick, three red numbers that you like. red 12 is what I'd pick.
Yeah.
That makes most sense.
So, yeah, exactly.
red 12.
Are we going to have a roulette?
The roulette session.
Yeah.
12's your best number. It comes up more.
Yeah, it does come up more. Ask anybody who knows roulette. So I said, okay, I'll play. So I cashed in, I think, for like 100. And in the meantime, there was a dealer change.
Right.
So I bet I think I bet $10 on black. And then I bet just a single dollar on, a single number.
Right.
And she said, "Oh, you can't do that. That's two separate bets. The inside has to be at least 10 and the outside has to be at least 10. I said, "Oh, well, the previous dealer said that."
Just like 30 seconds ago told us
The
it was the opposite.
And she said, no. And she called the pit over, and the pit agreed with this new dealer.
Yeah. He said, "Oh no, it has to be 10."
So then we kind of got into an argument. He thought that we were arguing about the rules, but really what I was saying was, look, the dealer that was just here told us the wrong thing. If what you're saying is true, I just want to let you know your dealer was wrong.
You might want to
'Cause
tell the dealer.
There was nothing vague about
Oh no,
the
because
first dealer telling us
it was you
this.
and I and another person, and we all heard the same thing, and we
She
all
made
knew
a point of it. Oh, this
Yeah.
is different from other casinos.
Yeah. Well, she was bragging. She said, "This is the best place to play roulette because we let you do that."
So I said, okay, fine. I, pulled back the single dollar. And then eventually that same original dealer came back.
Right.
And her story was kind of like, "Oh, I didn't realize you were doing."
She made some mumbo jumbo.
Didn't make any sense when she was trying to backtrack.
It's like she had a mouthful of marbles and she was explaining it. I got nothing out of what she said the second time. The first time she was very clear.
Anyway, so that was roulette. We actually had a fairly good time. You made a mistake.
I made a
during your
terrible
play.
mistake.
Yeah.
So I bet 25 and 26 because those are my daughter's birthdays. Mm-hmm. And so the whole time I'm putting 25, 26, $2 on each one, $2.25, $2.26. And then it got kind of crowded and I had to reach across. And I guess in reaching across, instead of 25 and 26, I picked the two numbers just below that.
Yeah.
And the lady spins the thing and then boom, 25. And I'm like, "Oh, great."
You're
and I
all excited.
look and my money's on whatever the two other numbers below that are.
Yep.
Yeah. And then it never came up again.
All right. Well, when we write our roulette book, again, we're going to talk about always bet red 12.
Yeah.
And, be careful when you're betting
Berkshire,
birthdays,
where
which is
you-
another good system, betting
Yeah,
birthdays.
They come up a lot. I mean, every year I have one.
As far as I know, too. I don't think I was born on February
haven't missed
29th.
one.
No, not that I know of.
Yeah.
Anyway, we had a good time. We didn't play that long, maybe 15 minutes, something like
15,
that.
20 minutes. It was fun, though.
Yeah, I
enjoyed
agree.
it.
Oh, I do. We never play. That's the thing.
No,
It was like it was
right.
something different for us. Roulette. So Mike was cashing out, and while I was waiting for him, it was kind of by the cashier area. I was looking, I saw a blackjack table. Here's
Your
what
favorite table.
Here's what blackjack has come to. All right. It was single deck. That was the only good thing it had going for it.
Right. It was single deck.
Single deck. Now, listeners may be able to figure out where this is going, because here we're at Caesar's Palace. Single deck. Here were the rules. 6 to 5 on blackjack.
Boo.
That's pretty common on the strip now, right? Double only on 10 and 11.
Double boo.
No doubling after splitting.
Real big boo.
And the dealer hits soft 17.
Yeah.
All of those rules.
Favor the house.
And while I was watching, somebody came up and started playing. Oh my gosh.
Well, that's where you should have grabbed him and said, look at the rules.
Jeez.
Refuse to play this.
I mean, just go to a shoe game, at least where they play 3-2. And all the, they may still hit soft 17. That's pretty common too. But oh my gosh, all of those rules.
But at least on a shoe game, you can double, on a 9 if it's in your favor.
Well,
right?
you double on soft totals too, right?
Yeah.
No, that's the state, certainly at a Caesar's property, right? At a big company property like Caesar's Palace.
Yeah.
That's the state of blackjack. So your wife finished up with her haircut, so we headed over to
she had a good haircut.
We headed over to Serendipity 3.
Right.
And
got her frozen hot chocolate.
We all got frozen hot chocolates.
Yeah, I got a corn dog too.
That's right.
And I have an issue with that corn dog.
Let's hear it.
It was cold.
Uh-huh.
The outside was hot. And remember how long it took to make it?
It was probably just microwaved. It's probably a frozen hot dog they just threw in the microwave.
Because the outside was pretty warm. The corn part was warm, but the inside was like cold. But at this point, I'm like, I'm not going to go back and stand,
Unless you're getting a hot dog, like a hot dog on a stick from Hot Dog on a Stick, the actual company, you're probably getting one that's just being heated right, as opposed to actually fried there right in front of you.
Right, yeah, and that's probably what this was. But it was still good. I still I like a corn dog.
Okay, even though it's cold.
Hot or cold. My wife's like, she's like, can I have a bite? I'm like, give her a bite. And she's like, it's cold. I'm like, yeah, I know. That's how I asked for it. I like a cold hot dog, but a warm outside.
What got me though is that we're having these frozen hot chocolates, and I had one before. They're very good. If you like chocolate, they're super chocolatey.
They're very chocolatey.
But then I'm looking at the menu, and they have different kinds.
Yeah, we didn't know that.
I didn't realize.
I don't think they had that the last time we were there.
Maybe not, but they had like a peanut butter frozen hot chocolate.
They had a mint one. My brother said he had the peanut butter one last time he was there. He said it was really good.
By then it was too late. We'll have to go back.
Next time.
All right.
It was my treat. Next time I'm going to treat you to one of each. We'll be like those Sonic guys.
Oh, the commercials.
Yeah, we'll get give me 4 frozen hot chocolates, all the flavors.
Okay. Because then we each have our own straw.
Yeah.
All right.
And it'll be a fun time at the craps table later.
I don't think this is ever going to happen, but it's making a good story for the podcast. So right after that, we wanted to head over to Rio. Well, I wanted to certainly head over to Rio to see the World Series of Poker. So you and your brother and I hopped in the car.
My wife went to the Forum shops.
That's right.
And started shopping.
That's right. Yeah. So we went over to Rio and walked in. And I, said, okay, I'm going to the World Series of Poker. You wouldn't have any of that.
No.
Why wouldn't you go look at that? You've never been.
I wanted to play craps.
Oh, my gosh. That's all.
My brother and I just went right to a craps table and had a great roll.
Yeah. Well, I was at the WSOP.
Yeah, it was all winners while Mark was gone.
Well, so they went straight to the craps table, but I was trying to broaden my horizons a bit. So I walked back to the World Series of Poker. Well, obviously, we weren't there long enough for me to play anything, but I got a big kick out of it. It's huge. There are tons of people there. That I love the atmosphere. There's just so much energy. There were multiple huge rooms with different tournaments going on. And, the energy, I just loved it. It was kind of reminded me of Comic-Con in a way, except, poker, right? And I'm passing people, listening to conversations. Oh, so the flop came 7-4-4. Everybody's talking about their bad beats, what have you. And I'm walking down the hallway, and Doyle Brunson is coming at me in a scooter. Oh, I wish I should have stuck my foot out so that I could say that Doyle Brunson ran over my foot, because
that would be a great story.
Because Willie Shoemaker
ran over mine.
Ran over your foot in his wheelchair. I should have done that. I just said, "Oh, look out!"
You should have paid them. You should have said, "Hey, Doyle, just run over my foot real quick,
please. Here, I'll give you $100." But anyway, I really enjoyed going over to check that out. So we're going to have to go there and play sometime. I love the whole atmosphere. Now, tell the listeners though, before you went to the craps table though, you headed over to the sports book.
Oh, I headed over to the sports book to make my baseball wager.
Yeah. So just to remind everybody, Mike promised that next time he was in Vegas, he was going to make a wager, 2 baseball wagers, both on the same team for the same game. but one ticket was going to be voided if there was a pitching change before the game started, and the other would not.
Would not be. And so my brother and I went over there, and I told the guy, okay, I want to bet $50 on the Padres to win tonight.
Yeah.
And he said, and then I also want to bet $50 on the Padres. And I believe they were playing, I want to say it was like Cincinnati. And I want to make a bet on them, but I want those two starting pitchers. They're listed.
Yeah.
And if there's a pitching change, what happens to my ticket? And he said, well, if you request those two pitchers and a pitching change, your ticket's null and void. You'll get your $50 back.
Right. Good.
So the way they printed that is on the regular ticket, it was, and the Padres were favored. They were minus 130.
Yeah.
On the regular ticket, it said Padres minus 130. Mm-hmm. On the second ticket, it said Padres minus 130. And then it had the two names of the Padre and Reds starting pitchers listed.
Yeah.
And that's all it had.
Okay.
So it's like, those are your pitchers.
So that's how
they designated it.
Okay, good.
So
now
different.
We know how it's different.
Funny thing is, later that night, we're listening to the game. The Padres are ahead 2-0 right off the bat. And I'm thinking, oh, great. They were favored. Anyway, so my $50 bet was only going to pay like $37. So I would get like $87 or something.
For both of them.
Yeah. And then, it was like the 7th or 8th inning. Cincinnati scores like 3 and goes ahead 3-2.
Yep.
And the last I saw, I was checking my phone. The last I saw, it was the Padres were losing 3-2.
Yep.
And bottom of the ninth. And as everyone knows in America, they can't hit worth a lick. So I thought, okay, forget that. And we went about playing. And then I checked later, and they won. They tied it up in the bottom of the ninth and won in the 11th.
Nice.
So I won both bets.
Your bets because there was no pitching change.
There was no pitching change.
All right. Well, good. So that just for listeners' sake, right? When you're making a baseball wager, make sure that you're getting the wager that you want. That if there is a pitching change, do you want to, have the ticket remain active under the new odds that will get listed for the new pitchers?
Right.
Or do you want to lock yourself into those pitchers?
And if you're a sports bettor, if you're just a casual fan like me, who cares? But if you're a sports bettor, that's very important.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's all about the pitchers.
Yeah.
And you could go from the guy starting, which was the Padres ace, so-called ace, to, it could have been a long reliever who starts the game, right? If he's got a cold or something.
Yeah. So we played it. So I came back and met you guys at the craps table, and we played at the Rio for a little bit more.
You missed the world's grumpiest craps player.
Oh, yeah?
Remember that I telling you there was an old man at the table right when we got there. He was complaining about everything under the sun.
Really?
And he was complaining to the guy who was standing next to him. And then there was my brother, and then there was me. So we could hear everything. He was complaining, I don't know why I play here. It's always crowded. It's always slow. And then we bought in. And it was on a come out. I mean, it wasn't in the middle of a roll or anything. Mm-hmm. And he was complaining about us buying in and slowing the table down because I bought in for $2,000. They had to count it all out. He was right in front of us. He's complaining about everything.
I don't know why I play here. You kind of have to go out of your way to get to Rio.
Exactly. He complained about everything. He stayed for about 2 shooters, both winners, both good rolls. He wasn't making much money because he was betting like one number in the field. And when he's complaining, I'm thinking, well, here's a guy who knows how to play. He's betting the field and and placing one number. And then, so he didn't win that much on the rolls. And so he got mad and he left and he went to another table. And the funniest thing is when he left, see, my brother and I heard him talking to this guy, and the other guy was just nodding and agreeing with him. And the guy turned to my brother and I and said, oh, thank God he left. Could he be more negative?
Yeah.
And I thought they were friends. He didn't know him from Adam. He was just agreeing just so that the guy would,
he didn't want to engage him.
Right.
Well, we played, this is a good enough time to mention also, before we forget, we won at every casino we played at, except for Caesar's Palace.
Except for Caesar's. We played at 5 casinos, I believe?
Something like that.
4 or 5 casinos.
And we had losing trips.
Yeah.
Both of us, we lost.
We both lost.
And it was because of Caesar's.
It was because of Caesar's. Because we played there the most, and I don't think I walked away from a table at Caesar's ahead.
Yeah.
Every other casino, I walked away ahead.
Yeah. So we finished up at Rio. We met up with your wife again. Oh, no. First we went to the Diamond Lounge at Caesar's. Yeah. When we got back from Rio, because it was just about time for the Belmont Stakes to run. Right.
Oh, we forgot one thing. Well, you saw Doyle Brunson.
Oh, yeah.
My wife texted me at the same time that she's in the foreign shops, at the Gucci store, and she was standing next to Shania Twain.
Ah, okay.
So she she stood next to Shania Twain. You said next to Doyle Brunson.
Yeah.
And she texted back and said, I guess we know who wins that battle. Doyle.
Yeah, right. Shania Twain.
Yeah.
You had to tell me who she was. I didn't, what?
And they both are pretty handsome people.
I agree. They're probably both about the same age.
Yeah, about the same age.
Good, funny little skit. So we went to the Diamond Lounge at Caesars, and we watched the Belmont Stakes, and we were cheering on California Chrome. And as everybody knows, it's funny because I bet quite a bit to win on California Chrome, which is it was a pretty terrible bet.
Yeah.
Because everybody was doing that. And I know a lot of people, including myself, were buying like just souvenir win wagers. Right. And then that dilutes the pool for winners.
Sure.
And, so it really, from a horse race betting standpoint, it was a poor bet, but we were all rooting for, him to win, and everybody knows how that turned out. But that was good. We were able to watch that in the Diamond Lounge, watch the whole thing.
Yeah. And
then we met up with your wife and we headed over to the Quad. We had not been there since it had changed over the Quad.
Right.
And as soon as we walked in, they gave us coupons for like a $5 free play.
Oh, right. There was a girl passing out. We got $5 of free play, which I turned into $5.80.
And I think I turned it into $1.20.
Wow.
Or $1.25.
I actually won. I put it in a penny machine, pressed it once, made one $5 bet, got $5.80 out.
So we played at the Quad, and this was probably the best session that we had. We played craps. One thing they had at the Quad, they had little stools that you could sit on.
Yeah.
Pretty short stools.
They were short. Yeah, you could barely see. And you couldn't really reach your bets.
No,
but they were nice to sit down.
I felt kind of silly. But yeah, they did have some stools there. And that we really had a great session.
Yeah.
I had a great roll myself.
Yeah, you had a real good roll.
I just kept rolling 8 as the number, as my point.
Yeah, you rolled like 3 or 4 8s.
I think it was 4. And so I had a great roll there. And while we were playing there, one of our listeners, Taylor, came up and introduced himself. And so he played with us a little bit there.
Right.
We only played with him a little bit because we had to go to dinner. We had dinner reservations.
We had dinner at Caesars. And we were winning. And it was like, are we going to go to dinner? Are we going to go to dinner? And then it turned out you were on that good roll.
Yeah.
And you 7'd out right at, it's like, well, if we leave now, we'll make it to dinner.
Yeah. I planned on changing clothes. I didn't have time to do that.
No.
So, but that was, the dealers, I don't know. The dealers were okay.
Nothing special about the dealers.
But we did have good rolls. And I will say this about the Quad, at least the way it's laid out right now. I have never had to walk so far from a craps table to the cashier.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
When the guy said, it's over there, I'm thinking, well, I turn around the corner and there's the thing. No, it was like around the corner, down the ways. I mean, you're halfway to grandma's house before you get to
it. It was amazing. Maybe it'll change, because they're still doing construction.
They got to put a closer cage than that.
Was long. So we went back to Caesars. We ate at their steakhouse, the Old Homestead Steakhouse, which you had been to before.
Yeah.
We were hoping to eat over at Paris at Gordon Ramsay's Steak, but we couldn't get in.
No,
it was just too short notice. Yeah.
And if you do eat at the Old Homestead, get the meatball appetizer.
Yeah, that was good. We got a couple of those so we could all have them. Yeah. So that was very good. And you had the celebratory dinner
thing,
comped that whole thing.
Right.
So that was nice.
Yeah, we thought we had drinks too.
Yeah.
And steaks, 4 of us.
Yeah.
And we still didn't use $500.
No.
I would have swore we were way over.
Yeah.
I was prepared to pay for the rest. Yeah. And it was like, $410 or something. Yeah, we had like $90 extra. We should have sat there and drank some more.
Yeah. But that was a good meal. So then right after that, we headed over to the Cromwell. Again, only recently opened. It used to be old
Bill's Gambling Hall.
Bill's Gambling Hall, yeah. And I really like this place.
Oh, I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's a Caesars owned property. I think they're kind of going for a cosmopolitan kind of feel.
Right.
But
a lot of red.
Yeah. And darks.
And dark. It was nice, though. The dealers were great.
The absolute best dealers of the trip that we had. They were great.
They were engaging.
This. Yeah. As soon as you came up, they introduced themselves. Well, none of them had name tags.
Right. I asked them, why don't you? And, I can't remember somebody's name for shit. And so I'm like, now, what was your name again? Yeah. And I'm like, why didn't you have a name tag? Oh, we don't. We'll tell you our name. Just ask.
So as soon as we get there, they tell us, the dealers tell you their name. When they're leaving, they say, okay, I'm leaving now. Bill's going to take care of you.
Right.
And we all gave our players cards, and the pit went up to each of us individually and introduced himself
Right.
and said, welcome to Cromwell, anything I can do for you. Usually, maybe you'll get some attention because you're 7 stars.
Right.
But no, he went to each one of us in our party,
Right.
introduced himself. His name was Chris.
Right.
So that was great. I mean, just the service at the table was easily
by
the best
far.
That we'd
Oh, and
seen
they talked
in
to the
some
whole time,
Oh,
jokingly.
we had a great time, and it was another winning session. So of
Right.
course
We
we're
had
in a
very
good
good
mood.
rolls,
Yep.
yeah.
And Taylor met up with us again there, and we won a 4-number fire bet.
Right.
A woman across the table from us was rolling, and she very quickly made 4 numbers.
Right. She rolled them awfully quick.
Yeah, and then came out on a 5th, a
Yeah.
5.
Right.
Wasn't able to roll that, but we got paid on the 4 numbers.
It
So
would have been nice. It was 5 and 6 is what she had left.
no, I think
Was
it was
it?
5 and 4.
Was it?
Yeah, pretty sure she had made 6, 8, 9, 10.
Oh, okay, maybe you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe it was because I was thinking to myself, if she makes the 5, it's not that hard. I thought, well, if she could make that.
Yeah, so that was exciting. Another winning session. But it was great to meet up with Taylor. It was fun playing with him. And all of our listener experiences have been good.
Yeah, they've all been good.
It's been great. It's
We
great to
haven't had anybody we like, oh gosh,
this is
a little scary. No, they've all been very nice,
and,
very good.
we've all played at the craps table together and just had a really good time.
And we
So-
won with the people we played
For the
with.
most part, yeah, I think so, yeah.
Didn't we won in Atlantic City?
Well, we
right?
certainly won when we were playing Pygao Tiles.
Yeah, right.
With Jim. And
And I think we did okay in craps there too.
We might have, yeah.
I think we lost when we went over to like Revel.
oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
That was the
Definitely
only
lost,
place
yeah,
we lost,
yeah,
Revel, because then we won out at Rincon when
When Greg
Greg came,
yeah.
and we won. We had both places at Cromwell and the Quad with
So?
Taylor.
Good karma. So then we headed over so we were finished there, and we decided, let's move on. Let's go over to Bally's. And we only stayed there a short time because your wife was getting tired and wanted to go back.
Yeah, she wanted to go back
We
to
didn't want
bed.
her to just walk all the way back to Caesars by herself, of course. So,
And thank God, because it's kind of scary that walk.
well, yeah, because if people
They're
who've
doing
been there
construction.
recently, they're doing all that construction in front of Bally's, and so
you kind of have to walk down on the street.
either that or back over to Cromwell and walk through the casino there.
Right.
So we only played at Bally's for a little bit, but we won there.
We won there. I won $500 in like a matter of like 4 or 5 minutes.
And then back to Caesars, and then you and I played at Caesars for the rest of the night, and it was terrible.
Terrible.
And, we moved to a $25 table, which is, a little steep for me, but I thought, oh, well, I'm in Vegas. And anytime we moved to a $25 table,
It was bad.
terrible.
Right.
So
And we go back. I think we went to a 10 or 15 or something, and you won a little bit, but it couldn't make up for the 25.
No.
loss.
And, let's talk about this now, too. We were not happy with the dealers at Caesars.
Oh, no.
Okay. They're competent, but
They're very competent.
They were so distracted talking to each other.
Right.
And not paying attention to the game.
They're in their own little world.
I can't tell you how many times we were there and, it's like, come on, send the dice. There's nothing going on.
At one point, I almost said something, and I'm not the kind of person that would really make a stink, but I was getting so mad.
Yeah.
Because it was me and you and one other guy.
Yeah.
And you rolled, and we made a couple of bets, and it was like, send the dice. And the guy just stood there because he was talking to the other dealers not about casino business.
No, it was something completely unrelated.
It was
something
about
personal.
something personal about meeting up with somebody. And I'm like, what the hell? Come on, let's play.
Yeah, I don't even mind that if they're moving the game along, but 3 players at a table,
Right.
that should
and
be
he's
a
holding
fast
the
craps
dice.
game.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, they were
Yeah.
bad. I'll say this. I've never really not liked the dealers at Caesars because they are very sharp.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that they know what they're doing. But there were several instances on this trip where they were not paying attention.
No, I agree. And you and I have discussed this since. I stayed at Paris, you stayed at Caesars, but usually if we go together, like just the two of us, we'll stay at Caesars. We're not going to stay at Caesars anymore.
I'm not.
There's no reason to. Yes, it's nice, but you have to walk a mile to get to the elevator for your room.
Right.
We were talking about this restaurant, Central. It's overpriced.
Right.
If I want to just go to breakfast, I don't want to, and we want to do a coffee shop, I don't want to pay $20 for the meal.
Right.
Or I want to go to a place that's nice for breakfast.
Right.
And,
right.
this
If
was
you're paying
just,
$20, you want to go to a nice place.
and then the high table minimums and
Yeah, I don't mind the high table.
That doesn't
minimums and
affect
stuff.
you as much, but-
I really don't. If you ask me what's the thing you hate the most, it's that hike to the room.
Yeah.
I mean, give me a bus to drive me to the room. I mean, it's a long ways. And it's not that I'm lazy or old or anything, but I just,
when you're in Vegas, you want to get to where you want to be right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know.
It's like walking through the Forum Shops. It's so big. It's like, oh God, we're only a quarter of the way through here.
So no more Caesars. I don't know that we'll even play there.
Well, I'll tell you what,
soon.
I wouldn't mind staying at Bally's or one of the other Caesars.
Planet
properties.
Hollywood?
Not Planet Hollywood, but Paris.
Paris. I like Paris.
Bally's. I mean, we've stayed at Harrah's a million times.
Yeah.
And, I like Harrah's, but it's just, we've stayed there so much.
Yeah. So that was basically the end of our trip together. I guess I fell asleep about 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And then I woke up at 5 a.m. to catch my flight at 7:30. So I was out of there really early.
Yeah, my brother and I stayed up and played after you left. I went to bed again about 4:30 or 5 and got up I think we got up at 7:30 because our flight was at 11, but I figured we had to leave like 9:15 or something. Yeah. And we took a cab.
Oh, you didn't have a limo from
No, there was nothing arranged or anything.
Huh.
And, the night before I thought about it and then I kind of forgot about it. And so there was nothing arranged. So we just got in a cab.
Oh, okay.
And you know what? It was quicker and easier.
Yeah, that is true. There is,
I tipped the limo driver more than I paid for and tipped the cab guy.
Yeah, it's true. And if we had just taken a cab as soon as we got off the plane, we would have gotten to our destinations quicker.
Yeah. So we took a cab and he was very friendly, nice guy.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our trip. I don't think we're ever going to do a trip like that again where it's just a one day.
No.
But,
and I have to say, I still did have fun.
Oh, yeah.
I'm there with you and my wife and my brother.
We packed a lot into just virtually one day.
We did a ton of stuff. Yeah.
And there was more stuff that, we wanted to do, but still, we did a lot. Time. And, next time, I don't know when we're going to go again. It might be for VIMF in October.
Well,
Maybe there's
I'm
going to
probably go in July.
Okay. As you're going through on your way to Mesquite?
On my way to Mesquite.
Okay.
I think we're going to go to Vegas.
Okay.
Some too.
Yeah. All right. So we'll talk about that when you get back.
But, we might stay a night there and then the rest in Mesquite.
So that's our Vegas trip. We do have some outstanding emails and voicemails that we received. We will get to those on our next episode. So that's going to do it for episode 50. Be sure to download our app for your mobile device. You'll get access to all our episodes, quick links to contact us via Twitter, Facebook, email, and our voicemail hotline, and you'll get bonus audio. On the bonus audio for this episode, we talk about the old Silver City on the Strip in Las Vegas.
And we end up talking about the Wretch Dog.
Yeah,
so if you're curious about Wretch Dog,
listen to the bonus audio. With our app, you'll also get TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. I update those listings every Wednesday using a program I wrote myself to search through all the raw American TV data. The bonus audio and the TV listings are only available on our app. To download it, go to our webpage, youcanbetonThat.com, and on the left-hand side of the page, click on the link that says how to download our app. We have a link for Android devices and another one for iPhones and iPads. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 951-2-WAGERS.
951-2-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. Also, follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat. We always tweet when we're in a casino or on our way to a casino, and we'd love to meet up with you. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. And finally, head on over to iTunes and write a review for us. When you do, it helps us get new listeners. All right, Mike, what else you got?
Not too much. I will say this, that it's hard to go from card crap play to dice crap play and then back. It kind of throws you for the first little bit. We were both laughing about that. I mean, for the first 5 rolls at Caesars, I was looking for the cards.
Yeah, me too. I looked, okay, let's see. It's 2-3 on the dice. Let's see what the roll is.
And I'm
looking for cards.
And I will say this, at Harrah's Southern California Resort, formerly Harrah's Rincon, the dealers are faster than at Caesars Palace.
Oh, no kidding.
Because at least at Rincon, they pay attention.
And they're friendly and they're socializing.
They're friendly and social, and they still carry on the game.
Well done.
So, yep. I got to give kudos to them. So they're better than Caesars Palace. Where are you going to hear that?
Agreed. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Good night.